I'm about halfway into a project that will do this. Hey, Duff here. And yes, this is my veteran Sherman, and yes, it's upside down. And there's a reason for that. I'm about halfway into a project that will do this. Whoa. Okay, so let's turn this off. So what you're looking at, obviously, is me adding lights to my veteran Sherman. This is something that I totally credit Enrique Roca to getting me excited about. Enrique and Robert were over from the East Coast of Miami. They rode with me a few weeks ago, and Enrique had done this to his Sherman. And I didn't even have my Sherman at this point. And I said, man, that looks cool. How did you go about doing that? And he gave me the basics of how he did it. Now, I'm going to be taking a slightly different approach. Enrique actually opened up the top of the wheel and tied into 5-volt power off the system board. I'm actually going to try to utilize this little external USB battery bank that happens to be just the right size, that I can kind of wedge it in behind the light in the back. That's going to be my plan. I prefer to not tap into the electronics on the board if I don't have to. I thought this was a simple way to do it. Easy to recharge, easy to access, so that's my plan. So in order to make this work, I needed two components. You need the controller to control these lights, which I bought on AliExpress, and it's just, let's turn this overhead light on. The controller is just this. That is it, and here's the actual remote control for it. And then you need the lights themselves, which I bought off of Amazon. And of course I will have links in the description below if you're interested in buying these products yourself. Now, the reason I think these lights are so cool is because I think it's rated at 144 lights per foot, I believe, something like that. It's a lot of lights, so it's a high resolution display. Looks really cool to me. Has very strong adhesive on the back, and although you probably can't tell on camera, it does have a clear rubber seal on it to weatherproof these as well. So this is perfect for this application. And what's even better is they are the exact length you need to go from this point to this point on the wheel without any trimming. I did not do any trimming whatsoever. It fits perfectly. So yeah, it's great. Big thanks to Enrique for turning me on to this. I've been waiting for a couple parts to show up, and they're all finally here, so I figured I would do it since I have a couple days left on my Christmas vacation. So obviously the first thing you have to do is clean the surface. I first went through and cleaned all this plastic with just a damp rag, and then I went back with isopropyl alcohol and wiped this all down, because you want to have as clean of a surface as possible to make sure that the lights adhere. Once I did that, I just carefully started peeling the adhesive strip back and laying these in place, pushing them into these angles wherever necessary. And I'll have just enough here. I have just enough slack with the connector. I'll probably coat this with like black electrical tape and shove it back here under the light. I should have just enough to start here and do the same thing on the other side. So really, I'm at the point where I'm going to start laying the lights on the other side. So you can be here with me. So really the most important part of this is just making sure that you get it started correctly and get it started lined up with where you want it to be. So I already have the light on the other side as my guide, so I'm just going to try to line it up with that if I can get the adhesive started. There we go. Yeah, the adhesive seems very good, better than I expected, to be honest with you. Okay, so got some of that peeled back. We're gonna try to line it up on the edge. Right there, looks good. Press it in place. And you'd probably like to see me doing this, right? All right, hold on. So we get this section here pressed in. Because these lights are so small, they're very bendy and able to accommodate the angles here on the case, which is cool. Let's see, how can we do this so you can kind of see what I'm doing? So I'm just peeling this back. Once I have them in place, kind of pushing it back in. And these lights aren't super expensive either. 20 bucks, 30 bucks maybe, something like that. So if you do have a problem, it's not a big deal to get another set, and it's not a big deal to replace them either. Just peel them off and replace them. So I'm just trying to follow the bottom of the case. Now, right here, you're just going to be jumping this gap here. You're going to do an Evel Knievel and jump the gap with the lights, which I don't think is a problem, but it's not like I have much choice. So when I told Mickey that I was going to be doing this, he was familiar with Enrique's lights because he rode with him and Robert when Mickey was down here in Florida. He wasn't a big fan because he didn't like that the lights are not diffused. You know, they're very bright. Although I think I can probably adjust the brightness down with the controller. But he likes a more diffused light when you're talking about side lights on EUCs. For me, I personally, I like it. So I was just fine as is, although if you were creative, you could probably put some sort of diffuser substance over this if you wanted to, but I don't feel the need. Funny, over my break here, I've been doing more mods and stuff on wheels and less riding, just because it's been well, some people laugh when I say it's cold, but it was cold by Florida standards, you know, mid to low 40s some mornings, and you know, like yesterday the high I think was like 61 degrees, and it's not the kind of weather that I really want to ride in. Although on Christmas Eve, or no, I'm sorry, Christmas night, Katie, Daniel, and I rode one of the nearby developments to look at Christmas lights, and it was in the mid-50s for that, and I was frozen, and so were they. It was just cold, cold, cold. All right, so we're just carefully pressing in here. I mean, see how nicely that conforms to the contours? It really does. And probably when I'm done, I'll just go around and I'll press it in one more time, but that tape feels super secure. It looks pretty even. The good news is even if it wasn't perfect, I do plan, if you have the mudguard, I'm going to put the mudguard on here, and that will kind of further cover any imperfections that you might have. So shouldn't be a big deal. And of course you have to tie off. I'm going to probably cut these ends and tape them up so they are somewhat waterproofed. So let's turn it on and see if we got lights all the way through. And we'll turn off my ultra chest light, and we'll turn off the other lights as well. Let there be light. Now, if you were epileptic and prone to seizures, this might not be a good mod for you. And the great thing is you know, if you want to be stealth, you just turn them off, and you know, it's not really that noticeable. But if you want to be ultra visible, bam. I just have this on the default cycling pattern. It like cycles through I don't know how many different combinations and colors and patterns. It looks cool. I like it, and I'll probably just leave it like that. So yeah. So now we need to clean this up a little bit. Okay, so I've disconnected from the battery bank just to be safe, but first thing I'm going to do is cut off these extra red and white wires. These are if you're using some sort of additional external power supply with these light sets, but I am not, so I don't need them. So we're just going to cut them. And now that they're cut, we are going to take some of my handy dandy electrical tape, and I am going to carefully wrap this whole section over so it's black, so it will help it blend in, and then I'm literally just gonna tuck it in there. So let's see how the end result looks. This is the before. Okay, here's the after. Wrapped everything in black electrical tape, and then used some black zip ties just to keep these anchored to the frame, just to make sure they don't have an opportunity to move. So we're going to do something similar in the back. Once again, here is your before picture of the back. I'm not only going to be cutting the red and the black, but I'm going to be cutting this as well because I don't need it. I'm not going to be tagging anything to the end of this. So this will be almost a flush cut on that side. The electrical tape I'm using is Super 33 Plus. This is like some of the best electrical tape you can get. Stays put, stays pliable. Very good tape. I've used that for a long time. So now I thought I'd let you, I'm done, as far as I know, I'm done doing things in the upside down position. So now we need to turn the Sherman over. And any of you that has a Sherman knows how much of a fun job this is. Because you can just throw a Sherman around like nothing. It's light as a feather. Let's get this thing off my neck. Light as a feather. I can hear vertebrae in my back cracking as I do this. Seriously. Okay. There we go. Okay, so up here you see the spot where I'm going to mount the USB power bank. Now, again, Mickey was commenting that, hey, you don't want to block this vent hole. Well, it's not going to be tight against the vent hole. It shouldn't be tight at all. So let me just slide it in here for a test fit. So as you can see here, it's not up against that vent hole. There is still space for air to escape. But there are some challenges here because this cable that comes from the tail light is short. And if I try to fully push this in here, I will unplug my brake light, which I don't want to do. So I might be able to just get an extension for that to make it easier. But in the meantime, I'm going to shift the position of the USB power bank. Okay, there's one more thing that Enrique gave me a heads up about, and that's if you are going to use the mud guard, you need to trim it right there because otherwise that will be pressing on the lights, which is probably not a good thing. So basically you just kind of like cut this notch out more or less. And I'm going to go see if I can just do that with a pair of metal snips. Okay, you're looking at one of my toys I got for Christmas. Angle grinder. Using that to do this is probably might not have it tight enough. Is probably overkill. We'll give her a go. No, it's tight. All right. I've never actually used an angle grinder before, believe it or not, guys. So let's see what happens. Huh. Oh yeah, wheel's loose. Needs to be tighter. Okay, well, let's see. Am I supposed to put this in? This came with it, but that says it's a grinding wheel. Am I supposed to put the cutter above it? No, that can't be, right? No, that's not right. Well, what the hell? How's that supposed to work? I think I might have figured it out. I think you have to reverse the locking disc when you're using something thin like this. Let's see how. Okay, that feels better. This should be good. Merlin would be proud of me. This is a metal cutting blade, not really made for cutting plastic. Yeah, I guess we'll be cleaning that up a little bit. All right, so let's do the other side. This is not an This is not an angle grinder course, guys. Obviously, how to use an angle grinder. Okay, so that's what my profile looks like on the side now. Might let a little bit water through, a little more water through, but I don't care. And you could accomplish the same thing. I didn't have my metal snips up here in the car or in the garage, so maybe I could have done it with the metal snips. If you have a Dremel tool, I believe Enrique said he used the Dremel when he cut his. So various ways to skin the cat. And please, no commentary on my angle grinder skills. Okay, so let's see if all that horrible technique resulted in something workable. Hopefully. Hi, girls. I get nervous fitting this when it's on the stand because you're applying unnatural forces to the stand. All right, come on. I got it on once, I know I can get it on again. Okay, got it on there. As you can see, I have clearance now for the lights. Okay, so the lights are on and functional. Mudguard's in place. You can see, you do have a little bit of a wiring, mess here. I wrapped all the wires in black so they don't stand out that much. Right now, I just have this temporarily taped to prevent this from coming out. I'm thinking that I'd like to come up with something that's almost like a tab that I can rotate in place to just keep that locked in. Maybe mount it to this, maybe mount it to the roll bar, maybe mount it to the case itself. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to come up with there. I'll come up with something. I did replace the caps on here. I don't know if it's just my Sherman, but I found that these caps for the charge ports are loose and they come off very easily. I actually have some 3D printed ones that I used to have in my store years ago that are a much tighter fit, so I have those on there. They will not come off, even if the power bank touches it. So yeah, it looks pretty cool. Let's kill the lights a little bit. Front looks good. Yeah, I'm happy with it, guys. And if you don't feel like lighting up the road, just turn them off, and there you go. You're back to good old Sherman mode, normal Sherman mode. Okay, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for my, God, what is this, my third mod of the weekend? That's never happened before. Pretty happy with how it turned out. I like having the flexibility of having it powered by an external USB power bank and just not having it tap into the electrical connections on the wheel at all. That just makes me feel a little bit better. I do need to come up with something to facilitate keeping it locked in place when it's in there, but still being able to remove it to charge it easily. Be curious to see how long this little battery bank will power it. I suspect it'll be quite a while. LED lights typically don't pull tons and tons of power. And I will definitely include links to the lights on Amazon. I'll link the controller I bought in AliExpress. I'm surprised you can't get the same thing on Amazon. Maybe I'll look and see if you can get the same thing on Amazon, but Enrique seemed to make it seem like AliExpress was the place that you had to get that. And then, of course, the USB power pack as well, because it does fit in there nice. You could always experiment with different power banks. I have several of these, actually. They may or may not fit better or worse, but this one seems okay. So if you guys found this video interesting, please give it a big thumbs up. If this is your first time visiting the channel, please consider subscribing. Feel free to leave your comments, suggestions, ideas, and thoughts below. What do you think of lights on the Sherman? A lot of people don't care. And if you don't care about lights, then obviously you're not going to bother to do a project like this, but some people do. And once in a while, and I'm not the type that always wants bright lights on my wheels, but sometimes it's cool, like when I was doing the Christmas ride. It'd be fun to have the lights going on the wheel, so that's probably the primary use that you'll be seeing me use it for. I'm almost at 10,000 subscribers. Actually, I haven't checked today, but last time I checked, I was like 20 away. So maybe before my weekend is up, because I'm off tomorrow as well, I'll hit that magic number. And I appreciate anyone that has subscribed recently. And I will be doing some stuff for 10,000 subscribers, giveaway, promotion, something. It'll be decent for sure. So it's almost kickoff. Got to go watch the Eagles play the Cowboys. See what happens there. And I hope you have a great weekend. That's all for now. Till next time, Duffman out. If people only knew what people go through that have YouTube channels with Shermans to do stand shots. Jesus, it's brutal. Turn off, turn off, turn off.